Welcome back to the Avenue, and on this channel we just simply like to bring up and talk about topics that make money make sense to the average person, and today is no different. We're going to talk about a wealth audit, and you may say to yourself, what is a wealth audit? You know, I talk about finances all the time, but wealth is more than just what you have on the piece of paper that make you seem successful. Your numbers could look great, you could be successful, you have your investment accounts, you may have rental property, you may have all this stuff going for you, but is some of this stuff pulling on your peace and happiness? Are you really at the point where you want to be? Are you feeling overwhelmed by all of this? That is the wealth audit that we're going to talk about, because every now and then, especially as we get older, we need to step back and take a look at things. The money may be coming in fine and everything may be going well, but what is that stuff that may be stealing our peace? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's more than just about money. Stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, all right. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
Two questions that I want you to ask yourself immediately right before we begin is, what makes you happy? And what gives you life? What brings you life? What do you really enjoy doing? For some people, it may be some hobbies, such as for me, photography. I'm really happy with photography. Listening to music brings me life. Reading books, certain things like that bring me life. And that's what I want you to ask yourself, because wealth is not just about money. You may have the income, you may have the net worth, you may have money flowing in, you may have all of that, but I want you to look at life as far as how stressful are you? Do you have time to spend the way you want to spend your time? You know, these kind of things with the stress level and the time. And are you spending your time the way you want to spend it with your family and friends? Or is it always doing business? Is it always doing one thing after another? And where is that draining your energy, possibly your stress level? All of that. We need to look at all of this, because this all is contained in our wealth. We don't want to get so many assets or things in our life that all of a sudden it's overwhelming, or we can't do the things we want to do because we're caught up in this, we're caught up in that. Some people, owning a business, it engulfs your life and that's all you do. And so you find yourself working in the business, and all of a sudden years have gone by and you haven't accomplished some of the things that you want to, because you're being so busy about the business. For some, it may be rental property. I talk about rental property all the time, and there's good times in rental property, and then there's bad times in rental property, because you have to deal with tenants, right? And if you get someone in there that is a little challenging for you, this may bring a certain amount of pressure back to you. It may, make you spend more time in that area. And there are solutions for some of this, because for the rental property, you can always hire a property manager. But the question is, what makes you happy and what brings you life? Because wealth is not just about gaining a lot of money and having, the bottom line, the right. Some people don't even want to be billionaires, right? They may get to the millionaire level or the multimillionaire level, but because to go to that next level is going to take a lot more energy. And they may not want to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're happy, as long as you're satisfied, as long as you're doing the things you want to do. But we need to take this wealth audit to make sure we're in the place where we want to be. And if it's not, let's move some things around and let's change some things. Honestly, I've been taking a wealth audit myself. And the older I get in life, there's some things that I'm going to change. I've already got them in the plans of changing some things to make life easier for me. I enjoy rental properties. I enjoy doing what I do, but there are some things I need to shift around to do just a little bit differently. Even in my stock market, once I get the basis down of where I want to be in the stock market, there are some things that I'm going to change and shift around. But it all depends on what you want to do, what's taking up most of your time, and that type of thing. So take a look at all of this, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, this wealth audit that goes beyond just money and numbers on a piece of paper. I want you to think about if some of your assets are actually secret liabilities. And you're probably wondering, Adrian, what are you talking about? And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Say if you own a boat and it's paid for, right? So it's an asset, you don't owe anything on it, you're not making payments, but you have to store that boat somewhere. When you take it out on the lake, you have to travel, get a trailer to take it there. You got to put gas in it. You have to make sure it's maintained. So there are some things happening to that boat that you still need to pay attention to. In the case of a rental property, there are repairs. If people move in, people move out, you have to spend money to get it up to speed again so that your next tenant can get in there, right? And so there's all of this going on. Even if that house that you bought, lovely house, you love it, it's a big house, but you have a large yard, so you may be paying people to come and cut the grass and cut the hedges, keep the yard looking nice. What about the housekeeper that you have to pay to go through the house if you're not occupying all the bedrooms to do that? And then if you have a couple of AC units, if one goes out, you have to deal with that. So there are some things once we start getting some of these assets, and your house could be paid off. All this stuff could be paid off. But is it a liability, a secret liability that you don't want to deal with anymore? Is it a secret liability that you may want to downsize or do something else, maybe rent a boat instead of owning a boat? Take toll on that, because when we start using our time and energy for some of these things, that's the stuff that we don't calculate. Money can be calculated and put on a piece of paper. You know exactly where you are when it comes to money. But there's another level, a different level. And when you start maturing and getting older, you'll start appreciating this different level. And that's not to say that you've bought too much or overstepped anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is what you have that could be paid off, is it kind of draining you in areas that you probably don't want to be drained in anymore? Or just take a look at that. Is that something you want to continue? And if you want to continue, if you enjoy it, great. As far as me and my cameras, all my cameras are paid off. I can pull any of them off the shelf, start taking pictures, and it's a great thing. So, and they're kept here at my home. There's no rental space or anything like that. So it's a good thing for me as far as those small little things, but take just inventory of some of the other stuff that you may have, whether paid off or not, and see if it's a secret liability. While we're looking at all this and calculating all this, I want you to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information that I'm bringing to you. We're going to a different level, guys, more mature level, some things that we need to think about, because we've gotten the budget down. If you haven't, there's videos in the past that you can go look at the budget. We got an emergency fund down. We've talked about investments, talked about rental property. We've done a lot over the years. Now it's time to look deeper into the wealth and what we really want out of the rest of our lives. So once you've audited some of the things that you have to see if they're serving you like they should, because we're not impressing people anymore, right? We've gone beyond impressing people. We want to move on to the financial part of things. And the thing that I want to talk to you about as far as the financial part is really what's draining you financially. Look at that on a sheet of paper and see what is really draining your finances going in any area. Are you in debt in some things that you think about that's taking the money out of your household? Is that draining you? Just look at those things like that to see where you need to cut back, where you may need to move around some things. And don't be afraid to shift. Don't be afraid to pivot to something else, because that's what life is about. We make plans, we look at the plans, we reevaluate the plans, and then we move into something that serves us better. We don't just stay there in that plan because we made it and we're stuck to this, we're solid, we're not moving, we're not doing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to look at a few things to see which direction you may want to change and go in. And if it's going in the right direction and you're good with everything, great. But taking an audit every now and then is a great thing to do. We're here at mid-year. Great time to take an audit on your finances to see where you're being drained of things, where, if it's debt, if you want to stock a little bit more into your emergency fund, if you want to look at your investments and do something different with your investments. I'm even looking at changing the people who's handling my investments. So I'm looking at everything because it needs to make sense for me. If I'm paying a certain amount, they need to earn that certain amount. If they're not earning that certain amount, I need to look elsewhere to see where I can get the best deal for my money. Because if you think about it, you all, that's one thing once we turn our money over to someone to handle for us. Let's say if you're paying, I'm just throwing a number out there, if you're paying $10,000 a year for them to handle your account, in 10 years, you have paid them $100,000 that could have been invested somewhere making you money. So all of this has to make sense. What's draining you? What's keeping you up at night? What do you constantly think about? Let's sit down and review, get some other options in mind, and maybe change some things, but do not be afraid to pivot. Before we move on, there's another thing I want to address is lifestyle creep. That's something that sometimes we get into, and that could be a hindrance to our finances. You know, we talked about the adult children maybe pulling from your money. That could be a hindrance to your finances. So we need to take a look at all of these things. We don't want lifestyle creep, because as the lifestyle gets better, the money goes up and you start spending more. We want to look at all of that. So keep those things in mind also. Are you financially flexible? And what I mean here is that, do you have options in your finances to do one thing or to do something else? That's another question you want to have for yourself, because when you have options, you have power. You don't have to just do one thing and continue with that, but you can be financially flexible where you can move in one direction. If that's not working, you can pivot and move in a different direction. So that's something we want to keep in mind. And the next thing we want to keep in mind also is, if 10 years down the road, how are things going to look for you? 5 years down the road, how are things going to look for you? When it's time to retire, how are things going to look for you? So we need to look further into the future with this audit so that we know that we're on the right road to get there. But sit down, consider some of this stuff, and just calculate it out. It's a personal meeting with yourself, but it will benefit you tremendously. So what does that next level of wealth look like for you? It should look like better. Moving from what you are right now to better, making better decisions, having a structure that's better for you, just making life easier for you, a better life for you. It should look like better. And it may be simply simplifying things. If you have 15 properties and some of them you have mortgages on, some of them you don't, maybe you sell some of them and pay them all off. Simplifying things. You don't have to send in any monthly payments to anybody for a mortgage after that. So it may look like something like that. It may look like paying down debt to zero, getting totally out of debt. It may look like that. It may look like just relieving the stress in some kind of way. What is it that's stressing you out at night? What are you thinking about financially or otherwise? It may look like addressing that issue and getting it out of the way, relieving that stress. It may look like spending more time with your family or friends, the things that you want to do. It may look like just enjoying life, enjoying the free time that you have, doing some of the things that you've been wanting to do, even if they don't cost a lot of money. You know, there's local things around town that people can do. Get out, walk around, you know, be in the fresh air, do stuff like that. It may be something. It may be taking some trips somewhere. It may be going to the spa, getting a massage. It just may be taking a weekend somewhere just to get away from all of it. But these are the things that we need to look at to see what we want to move forward with and what we want to enjoy. So I've given you tips to audit your assets, audit your direction, and audit your habits. And with these tips that I've given you, hopefully you'll go in and use some of them. Just sit down with yourself, have a meeting with yourself to see if this is the direction that I want to go in. What is it going to look for me in the next 5, 10, 15 years? Will I be at the point that I want to be at? And if not, let's move, let's pivot and change some things, because you have time. If you're still alive, still breathing, you still have time to change things and pivot in a direction where you want to go, that you know that you'll end up in a better place. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrian. Humble, go get it blessed. Let's go.